By The Guardian, US confirms it will stage diplomatic boycott of Beijing Winter Olympics. Decision is response to what is described as China's genocide and crimes against humanity in Xinjiang and other abuses. So yeah, the White House would confirm.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have you followed this whole tennis player thingy?
Yeah, no, I thought it was linked to that. Yeah, I heard. So this tennis player, I mean, I've heard, I actually haven't listened to as much as I want. This tennis player has disappeared or something, if I'm not mistaken, or were they sexually abused?
Well,
Both.
Allegedly both. she, she was disappeared, and then as a ghost she was sexually it's allegedly both. But then again, The Hill had this fantastic segment with Katie Halperon, which shed some light on the issue, in my view, because I'm always suspicious of this type of issues when they focus so much on one. She made some allegations that Katie Halper was saying that translators say it was more of a, basically it was more of a, I had this relationship with this guy and he was an a-hole type of person. But then in media in the West, it got reported as in it was sexual assault allegation against her trainer or something. I'm still not clear. I read a couple of articles, but I don't want to make a definite comment of my views. I don't have any as of yet, but you know. And then she then went off Twitter, and then they keep saying she's disappeared, but apparently during this time she has posted pictures on her Instagram. She has done an interview with international organization.
Really?
So I'm not, so it seems like a bit of a scaremongering from media, kind of similar to the Rittenhouse thingy, it seems. And there are all these memes and pictures going with her face and then her mouth covered with like communist Chinese flags. And I don't know. I'm by the way, I'm sad when, if anybody comes out against allegations of cruelty of any kind, abuse of any kind, and they're disappeared, it's a tragedy. But the hypocrisy of it is so obvious, because you're talking about a country in which American companies, famously Apple, have factories in which children and workers are abused regularly. And then we are supposed to think that suddenly all of the media cares about one tennis player, like the most bourgeois sport out there. I mean, it's just, that's why people can't care. It's not because they don't care about the fact that somebody might not get justice. People care about that. It's just they don't. When you guys say it, nobody can trust you, and they know you are weaponizing it. So, I don't know the truth of a story specifically. So but I highly suggest checking out the Hill video and then doing more research and letting me know because but then this I read this Winter Olympics thingy, the boycott, and then the falling approval rating of the Bidens, which, oh my God, by the way, thank God Trump is gone. Stephen Colbert is back, and he's so funny, man. Stephen Colbert monologues are becoming so much funnier now that Trump is not there. He made fun of Biden a couple of times, and it was really good. And so the falling poll numbers and the boycott of the Olympics and the scaremongering of China, and goddamn, I think we are back. We are literally back in the 70s, and it's Carter presidency all over again.
Yeah, can you tell me why? Can you tell me a little bit why you say that? Because my knowledge in this area is much less than you.
Sure. No, Carter was basically this, following Nixon and Ford and the scandals that basically shook the American system and the faith in the American system. You had this guy from the South, this Democrat, good Christian boy from the South, elected to restore faith and values and all that and Christian values into American democracy and all that. And There is this, by the way, I'm gonna mention this article, so I better take it out soon. But he's the guy, by the way, he's the guy who actually, in many ways, starts the Reagan revolution. A lot of people think neoliberal turn started with in the middle of Carter's presidency, basically. In the middle of his presidency, you know, basically Keynesian economic system reaches its end point. There is the Keynesian crisis. And because pretty much the only economics in town that are, opposite of Keynesian economists are neoliberals, Carter starts putting in neoliberal policies, which are austerity, basically. He starts the austerity. There's this great article by Michael Lind on Salon, how Reaganism actually started with Carter. I think Reagan was the first modern president to preach low taxes, free markets, and morality, ? It's from 2011. Check it out if you like. So, and by the way, Reagan land, and I think in Reagan, is it in Reagan land or I think in the book Reagan land, Carter is discussed as well. But so, and I don't know if you recall when we talked about the beginnings of Taliban, Brzezinski is the guy who goes and is the first person who organizes the Taliban. And Brzezinski was the national security advisor to Carter. And in my view, actually, Brzezinski was one of the better characters in, you had Cyrus Vance, the corrupt, I think he was attorney general in New York or district attorney, I don't know, but the corrupt Cyrus Vance was he's head of a state, And by the way, as an Iranian, I must confess that, full disclosure, Iranians have a specific and overwhelming hate. Iranian bourgeois class, which I am somewhat associated with, there's a very, very strong hate for Carter. I hate him for different reasons. There is this narrative that Carter betrayed the Shah. I don't really, I kind of agree, but I think it was more like he was just incompetent. But but it's very, and the other reason why, the reason Olympics specifically made me think of Carter and, his low ratings. There was all these strikes during his time, by the way, and all that. So the parallels, in my view, are quite a lot. And I like in 1980s Summer Olympics also was boycotted by Carter over the invasion of Afghanistan by Soviet Union, and it's very famous thing, and Carter, by the way, made a deal with Soviets, and then went to the Congress, and then the Congress didn't pass the deal. And then, what I mean? Like, it's same thing with the Iran deal. So, and by the way, Carter as a person, though, probably one of the nicer people who ever became a president. But it just shows you, doesn't matter how nice you are, if you're incompetent, and in my view, if you're and it worries me because I think Biden presidency is going to be just like that, a nothing presidency that might lead to, I don't know, a second coming of Reagan.
Okay, yeah,
would be scary. That would be goddamn scary.
So further a right-wing backlash that's also very economic, big economic backlash, kind of. Is that what you're also saying?
I don't know in terms of economic even, but right now nationalism and xenophobia seems to be on the rise. That seems to be the trend globally. But who knows? But the situation seems ripe. As Lenin said, the power was on the streets and we just grabbed it. And this seems to be somebody, let's say a smart version of Trump or something.
Yeah,
and
I see.
But when by the way, that documentary, the QAnon Into the Storm that I told you about, I don't know if you saw any of it.
No, not yet.
As of yet. Yeah, that one is if these, you see, the fight is between these crazy people that are in QAnon and the apathetic cynicals that are in Biden administration. the crazy people will win. It's, you know.
No, right now, I mean, I can't disagree with much what you were saying. I was listening to it and
They have something to
very,
fight for.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very scary times for me.
No, and I mean, and this is a bit unrelated, but you just said like right-wing xenophobia is like on the rise, like globally. I mean, again, sometimes I like to disagree with this kind of stuff, but I mean, at least it seems like acquiring power and being more in the forefront in the media politically, yeah, it seems to be the case. And I'm just thinking in France, but then again, have to see how this election in France, for instance, unravels. But apparently, I mean, one of the main opponents who's going against Macron, he's going for exactly this. I forgot his name now, something Zemmour or something. I think he was a TV host or something. And
Oh
he's
man,
going,
yeah. No, the TV host Le Pen, and you just had the less Republicans. How do you pronounce that? The party of De Gaulle, the center right party. They just had the first round of voting, and the most right wing guy, who was, by the way, Michel Barnier and stuff. They were also, doing right wing talking points. He, like this right wing, basically crazy person, came on top.
Yeah.
Not more than 50%, but
yeah, and I mean there are so many of them, so at the end they're all probably going to cancel each other out, and it's going to be one of them against Macron, I would assume. But yeah, they kind of, I guess they're splitting the vote among them. I mean, they have, yeah,
I hope, I mean, this is still primary of the Republicans, so we'll see. I mean, in the first round of presidential election in France would be interesting.